Hello, welcome back to Armchair Armory, and it finished at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 1. Wow, probably the best team performance I've seen so far this season. It was, even though it was a little bit shaky towards the end, because Aston Villa scored a freak goal from a corner coming from Douglas Luiz in the middle of the second half. But in general, it was very, very similar to Bournemouth, but 10 times better than that, despite the fact that we got a goal through Gabriel Jesus in the 31st minute, just after the half-hour mark. It was a fumble by Emi Martinez, and it was tapped in by Gabriel Jesus. We should have had a lot more. We did have a lot of chances, but weren't quite clinical. That would probably be my only criticism of the team, that we weren't as clinical as we have been in the past few games. But I was very worried about this game, just because I knew Aston Villa would come out fighting. They definitely did. Particularly John McGinn was flying in for tackles left, right and centre. So yeah, I was worried. So I'm very glad that we've managed to get it over the line. And also, once again, similar to Fulham and similar to Leicester, as soon as we conceded, literally a minute and a half after that, Gabriel Martinelli scored down the other end. So there's definitely something happening here, in the words of James Lawrence Alcott. Definitely something happening here. I was saying it at points last season, but it seems to be consistently happening, that we're showing grit and mentality to come back and win games after a setback, which probably wouldn't have happened at points last season. So it's good to see. Very pleased. I really enjoyed the game as well. It was a really, really enjoyable game. And it sets up the weekend perfectly. Manchester United at Old Trafford. The age-old classic. The, previous giants take on each other yet again for another season. Our record at Old Trafford isn't great though, so I'm not entirely confident, to be honest, because even though their form is kind of indifferent, yes, they had a really good result against Southampton. I felt they had an indifferent result against a good result against Liverpool, but they had an indifferent result against Southampton. Even though if you go on social media, you'll think that Man United have won the league based on their reactions to narrowly beating Southampton. And that's the thing, like, for some reason every time they come up against us, they always turn up. So I'm interested to see how they get on against Leicester tomorrow at the King Power. I'll be watching that, hopefully, see how they get on and see what they look like there. But for some reason every time, particularly at Old Trafford, they find ways to win. And who would it be to once again end an unbeaten run but Man United, who obviously famously beat us 2-0 at Old Trafford in the 04-05 season to end our invincible run of 49 games. So yeah, that's the other reason why I'm a bit superstitious about Sunday. But yeah, going back to today's game, very, very good performance. I know there was a little bit of, I don't really pay attention to it, but I know there was a lot of like outrage and meltdown over the fact that like we haven't been in the news transfer wise recently, and there's been kind of a small injury to Partey and Zinchenko, and then there's been like a major injury to Elneny, which means that we're short in the centre of midfield. Lokonga came in and did absolutely brilliantly, I felt. I feel like everyone that's come in, Tierney, who's come in for Zinchenko, Elneny last week at Fulham, and Lokonga today, I feel like everyone's getting what the manager wants them to do, and they're all doing it. What this game made me think of is that now viral moment from the All or Nothing documentary of Arteta saying, if you lose the ball, you run. And I feel like we're doing that a lot more now. We're going for, every time we lose the ball, we go after it and win it back quite convincingly. There's definitely something happening. I just hope we can keep it up, because it's been a long time as well since I've seen the Emirates that rocking. Like the loudest I think it's the loudest I've ever heard the Emirates since we've moved to the stadium. So I'll say it again, something is definitely happening. I just hope that United don't burst that bubble on Sunday. Very, very good performance. And pleased with the start to the season that we've had. 5 wins out of 5, top of the league at the moment. It doesn't mean anything right now because we're we're still only 5 games into the season, but winning those 5 games definitely lays the foundations for what could be a very interesting season for us. In terms of Aston Villa, it puts massive pressure on Steven Gerrard now. I think that's the 4th loss out of 5 games for him. We've already seen Scott Parker be sacked from Bournemouth for 3 losses and a draw. So I have a feeling he might be next if things continue to go south. I'll just make a quick comment on mad scenes that I just saw at Anfield. Literally 5 minutes before I started recording, Fabio Carvalho scored a scrappy 98th minute winner for Liverpool to beat Newcastle 2-1. So it was a very interesting day in the Premier League. Spurs drew with West Ham. I'm still waiting to see this force to be reckoned with that the established football media go on about. Even though, yeah, they're doing well in terms of getting results and they're not necessarily losing games, but they're not playing well. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're as good as Man City at the moment, who won 6-0 today also. Haaland has scored 9 goals in 5 games or something like that. Crazy. That's the thing. I knew that the league would be over when that guy came. So yeah, very interesting day in the Premier League today. But the optimistic part of me is quietly confident about Man United, but I know what that fixture means and I know how often those guys burst our bubble, so I'm not going to be too overly optimistic about it. But going back to today, yeah, really good performance, really pleased. Let's see where we go. That's all I can say, really. I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back again previewing Manchester United. Until then, take care and stay safe. Bye bye.